Think about someone who changed your life. Maybe it was a teacher who believed in you before you believed in yourself. A friend who sat with you through a really dark night. Someone who showed you quietly, without making a fuss, what it looked like to keep going, even when everything felt impossible. And here's a question worth sitting with. Did you ever find yourself doing the same thing for someone else? Passing on the very thing that once held you together? Because that's what forgiveness does when it's had time to do its work. It doesn't just settle in us and stay still. It moves. It finds someone else. And today, on the last morning of this week's devotionals, we get to see that happen right before our eyes in the life of one of our favourite people, Peter. Peter the fisherman, the one who failed, who was restored, and who, it turns out, didn't keep that restoration to himself. We've been walking with Peter for a while now. We've watched him walk on water and sink. We've seen him make bold declarations and then crumble under pressure in a courtyard. We've stood with him on that beach at sunrise as Jesus asked him 3 times, "Do you love me?" And 3 times Peter said yes. And each time Jesus answered, "Feed my sheep." That moment was a commission, but it was also a completion. Jesus wasn't just giving Peter a job. He was giving back to Peter the very thing Peter had thrown away: his identity, his purpose, his place in the story. But here's what's remarkable. Decades later, after years of ministry, after hardship and persecution and the kind of life that puts lines on your face, Peter sits down to write a letter. He's writing to church leaders scattered across the Roman Empire, people who are tired, people who are wondering if any of this is worth it. And listen to what he says. 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. As a fellow elder, I appeal to you. Care for the flock that God has entrusted to you. Watch over it willingly, not grudgingly, not for what you will get out of it, but because you are eager to serve God. Did you notice that? As a fellow elder, not I'm the chief apostle and I'm giving you a command. No, he says, I'm in this with you. I'm a fellow shepherd. I know what it costs. And I'm asking you to do the very thing that Jesus once asked me to do on a beach, over a charcoal fire, before the sun had fully risen. Peter received the commission, and then he gave it away. Forgiveness that does its work always keeps moving. That commission, "Feed my sheep," was never meant to stop at Peter. Calling is not a cup to be filled and kept. It's a river. What flows in must flow out. When Jesus restored Peter, he was setting something in motion. And here, all these years later, we can see where that motion went. Into a letter, into the lives of other leaders, into the church, into us. That's the full circle of restoration made visible. Peter became what he had received. Peter passed on the spirit of it too, not just the words of it. Notice the heart behind what Peter writes. He doesn't say, watch over the flock because someone has to, and well, it might as well be you. He says, willingly, not grudgingly, not for what you will get out of it, because you are eager to serve God. He's passing on the motivation that he was given on that beach. Jesus didn't guilt Peter back into service. He loved him into it. 3 gentle questions, a fire, breakfast, and that love, that patient, unhurried, shame-lifting love, shaped everything that followed. A calling that is rooted in love and that grows outwards from love, not a duty to discharge, a life to live. Here's where the application of this gets even wider, because Peter was writing to elders, yes, but the principle stretches far beyond church leadership. The flock that God has entrusted to you includes whoever is within reach of your care right now, today. If you're parenting a teenager who's pushing every boundary and you choose patience over frustration, again, you're feeding a sheep. If you sit with an elderly neighbor and listen to their week without glancing at your phone, you're feeding a sheep. If you notice someone sitting alone at the school gate, in the works canteen, at the community centre, and you move towards them instead of looking away, you're feeding a sheep. The flock of God is far bigger than any church building, and so is the commission Peter passed on. Your one small step for today is this. Think of someone in your world who needs to be noticed. Not fixed, not given a long speech, just noticed. Maybe someone at home who's going through something quietly and hasn't really said much about it. A colleague who's been a bit flat lately. A friend you haven't checked in with for longer than you'd like to admit. Today, reach out to them. Send a voice note or a message. Make them a cup of tea. Just say, I've been thinking about you. That's feeding a sheep. It doesn't have to be grand or prepared. It just has to be willing. Here's my question for you today, and I genuinely want to hear your answer in the comments. Who in your life passed something on to you? Their faith, their kindness, their steadiness. And what might it look like to pass that same thing on to someone else today? Let's pray together. Lord, thank you that forgiveness keeps moving. Thank you that what you did for Peter didn't stop with Peter. It kept going through centuries of faithful people who passed it on all the way to us. Help us to be those people today. Give us eyes to see the sheep right in front of us, at home, at work, on our street, in our community. And give us willing hearts to care for them, not grudgingly, but because we love you. Amen. Now, this evening I'm putting up a new sermon. We're going to look at Acts chapter 2 and ask a big, exciting question. Is Peter's story the exception, or is it actually the invitation for every spirit-filled believer? What does your calling look like? Come and join me tonight to find out. And next week, a brand new series begins, following the same theme of this evening's sermon. I can't wait to share it with you. I'll see you then.